Good afternoon. What a great room and an amazing facility filled with folks that are here to celebrate a spectacular achievement. Just in case I start crying up here, I'm giving you full warning. I tend to choke up at the oddest little moments, and it could happen here, very likely. 50 years as an organization and the opening of the new Improved Dimension show that recognizes what excellent making has done for this province. My name is Cindy Hoppy, and I'm the chairperson of the Saskatchewan Craft Council. We are celebrating today in Treaty 6 territory, the traditional territory of the Nahiwak and the Métis Nation. As a provincial organization, we strive to help our members achieve their goals across Treaties 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. These include the traditional territories of the Nakawin-Wininewak, the Saulteaux, Nakota, Assiniboine, Dakota, Lakota, Sioux, and Dene-Sulin, Dene-Chipewyan. We gratefully acknowledge our relationship to this land and each other. We recognize the benefits and responsibilities we have under these treaties and dedicate our efforts to working together in a spirit of collaboration, reconciliation, and celebration of each other's gifts. 50 years, we're definitely a mature organization. Now the lights are pretty low, but I think there's almost as much gray hair out there as there is on the stage. So I think I'm pretty safe in saying that. This afternoon, we're celebrating creativity, courage, community, and collaboration. From 57 founding members putting $5 in a pot in 1975, many more folks joined and the organization began. Do we have any founding members with us this afternoon? And if we have some watching online, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. People's urge to create and grow, aligned with a province looking to improve the local economy with home-based production, work created over long winters, sold from the trunks of vehicles to a public eager for Saskatchewan made, became events that connected makers to buyers. That energy seeded this organization and developed workshops, publications, shows, markets, patrons, dissertations, retrospectives, and craft leaders that built upon that early success with each new year. This doesn't happen without ups and downs, criticisms and enthusiasms, pandemics and transformational presidential threats. I would like to share a letter from Mel Boland, a founding member, past chair, and a potter that embodied excellence in craft, who is no doubt engaged right now with the great heavenly potter in a lively debate about the quality of craft in Saskatchewan in 2025. Letter to the editor from the 25th anniversary issue. As an aside, if there are any historians in the audience, the Craft Council website has the entire body of craft factors scanned and accessible to all, and they are a remarkable resource to be inspired by. So here's Mel's words. Just received the 25th anniversary issue of the Craft Factor, and as usual, I was pleased and disappointed. Perhaps the idea of a classic plain cover shows our maturity, but we missed a great publicity event for the membership. Blending together the chronicles of the SCC, SPG, and the 25th anniversary exhibition with regular Craft Factor items did not read well. This is our 25th anniversary. Be brave. Very few volunteer organizations get to this stage. Blow the entire budget on the celebration. Print an extra Craft Factor if necessary. Now, obviously, he wasn't on the board anymore. If cost is a factor, approach our suppliers, funders, financial institutions, accountants, and photographic studios that do business with the SCC to place ads of congratulations or sponsor a photographic retrospective of past Premier Prize winners. What good company doesn't like a little PR? If there are decisions or dilemmas with content or concept, 6 past chairpersons are at your beck and call. 25 years, pardon me for my pea popping here, and volunteering is a vast reservoir of sage thinking. We have a strong organization, and in order to serve those who formed it, us, we need to talk. This organization and its magazine are more than a marketing opportunity. Our original mandate was also to increase the quality of crafts produced in the province and to increase communication between our members. Workmanship, criteria, and innovation at Battleford and Wintergreen are in decline. They are no longer premier shows. We are creative people. Let's be creative with our Craft Council. Mel Boland. Mel and all our deceased and departed members, we miss you and thank you for all you've done. Thank you to our public who responded to those first Battleford Handcraft Festivals and later Wintergreens with enthusiasm and spurred us on. Thank you to the funders whose names have changed over the years, but whose commitment to the idea of locally made but accessible to the world has sustained and grown our province and communities in so many ways. Thank you to the entrepreneurs, promoters, and educators who have supported us. Without you, the raw materials we need, the tools that take our work to the next level, getting the word out, the creative humans who make our work shine, and the amazing organizers who build shows and opportunities for us are absolutely critical to our success as craftspeople. Thank you to our dedicated and resourceful staff who over the years have helped us achieve success by finding a way through whatever challenges us. Last but not least, the support on the home front. We're all part of family and friend networks that know the craft life is never predictable. They have enabled us to pursue our crazy creative dreams. And today we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. To present Craft Council members in the audience today, waiting for the big reveal and excitement of our awards ceremony. We have an AGM coming in June, and we have openings for new board members. To paraphrase another past board member, Winston Kwan, when he received his honorary membership award a few years back, ask not what the Craft Council can do for you, but what you can do for the Craft Council. We need your voice and your face on our Zoom calls and in our programs. And I would be happy to chat with you if you're interested later in the afternoon. I would like Eric and Donna to wave for the audience. They're present here as present board members and much appreciated that they are here today. I have one last bouquet to present before I turn the mic over to our MCs for the afternoon. Being in the mature category of membership, I appreciate celebrating and then being able to drive home while I can still see the deer in the ditch. So timing is everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. I want to welcome everyone here as well. My name is Leah Moxley-Tygrobe, and this is my partner in craft, also VBB, which is Very Best Banana. Her name is Alexa Hainsworth. We're two of the many dedicated staff at the Saskatchewan Craft Council who've been working hard over the last 4 years to evaluate and redesign the Dimensions program to become a true celebration of Saskatchewan craft. We're thrilled to witness the hard work unfold, and we look forward to continuing the celebrations in the coming months. In a few minutes, we'll invite the Dimensions 2025 expert jurors to the stage, after which the selected artists will be announced. We have many award sponsors and community members who will be presenting the 14 Dimensions Awards, totaling more than $15,000 in prize money. Following the closing remarks, everyone's invited to join us for a casual reception in the Riverview Room foyer, just outside the theater.
Hi there, very best banana, Alexa Hainsworth. Also member services person at the Craft Council since 2015. I've gotten to know many of you, and I just want to say I'm continuously inspired by all of you and your hard work and dedication to craft over these many years, and some new members as well. I want to say how wonderful it is to have been working with Wally, Dion, and Brendan Lee, Satish, Tang. I will just speak a little bit about their background, if I may. Wally Dion is from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. He is a visual artist living and working currently in Binghamton, New York, He's a member of the Yellow Quill First Nation. Dion holds a BFA from the University of Saskatchewan and an MFA from Rhode Island School of Design. Through much of his career, Dion's work has contributed to a broad conversation in the art world about identity and power. And that's a big P, okay. And can be interpreted as a much bigger part of a larger conversation about the Pan-American struggle of Indigenous people to be recognized culturally, economically, politically by settler societies. Utilizing large-scale portraiture, found object sculpture, and site-specific installation, Dion has expanded upon his practice to include themes of personal history and spirituality. Dion has exhibited extensively throughout Canada and the USA, participating in numerous solo and group exhibitions. Dion's work can be found in several prominent collectors, private and public. Please welcome Wally Dion.
Okay. I thought there was going to be some more. It's an honor to be here with you today in the Craft Council and the staff of the Craft Council, and it's been an honor to be a juror for this competition. And Brendan and I were talking about it ahead of time about how we, I should put a timer up here. This is 10 minutes, so I'll be fast. And we'll get out of here. So I'll just give you a little introduction to my works. Maybe some of you have seen my work before and whatnot, but yeah, so a jury, and yeah, I'm glad to be a part of this. So we'll just run through this real quick here. I just want to show you some of my work from my practice and some of my shows here. I grew up here in Saskatoon, and this is part of the Red Worker series of paintings. And I think of myself, or I want to be a portrait artist in my life, but you'll see through my little demonstration here that I I've taken lots of side quests onto different adventures, and that's also what brings me to craft. It'll come around in a minute. So these are large acrylic portraits of Indigenous people in the workforce, and this was all part of that worker series that I did in response to old Jim Panku's rhetoric about the lazy Indian. So I was doing these portraits about Indigenous people in the workforce, and all of these people are working in Saskatoon, nurses and construction people. And so I had continued this, and this is a painting that I did not too long ago of Tristan. Maybe some of you know Tristan and his fiddle work here in Saskatchewan. I happen to love beadwork, so you may or may not be able to see the beadwork in this portrait. And had beads, had the flowers beaded in his jacket, and so what happened was I saw Tristan here at the Remai at some kind of event one night, and he was wearing that jacket, and I said, I have to do this portrait of this fellow. So there's a yellow flower in there and a blue, and I had it all beaded with and somebody in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a beader. So I suppose maybe you really have to press it. The thing that I kind of did a lot of, and before I left Saskatoon for the US or whatever, I did a lot of these circuit board thing, like these kind of quilts or whatever, and they were essentially, I remember at the time it was the Red Workers series, and I was trying to find a way to make work about the people who are working with technology as well as people who are working in groups, and I was thinking of and so it kind of came to me, the quilting bees and people who work in quilting bees and these kind of communities, so caregivers and personal caregivers and like social work and teacher, and so that's where the quilt, kind of the star quilt came, and I sort of combined technology and quilting together, and that's when I went off on the adventures of quilting, or pardon me, circuit boards, because I spent a lot of time working with the circuit boards. So, and they're just sewn together, and some of them I've done like these Thunderbird ones, and they're kind of nailed to, they're like mosaic, and they're nailed to plywood, but this is the most recent one I made in my studio in Binghamton, New York. So I live in Binghamton, New York. It's just in the rural area of upstate New York. So it's like 4 hours from the city. So I'm 4 hours from New York and 5 hours from Toronto and 5 hours from Montreal and Ottawa. So I'm dead in the middle of nowhere. So I'm sure you all want to know, well, how is it down there, Wally? Well, I'm in the sticks, so it's not good. But I've learned, in some ways I've learned a lot about, I have learned a lot from living down there, and let's just say, I can see both sides of I can see a lot. I can just really pay attention and learn a lot, so. So there was a show at Saskatchewan. You'll find something else that's kind of interesting in my talk, is that I do a lot of my work, even today, it's for Saskatchewan and the prairies and Canada and stuff, so I actually physically live in the USA. But 99.9% of everything is coming back here. So it is what it is. And so I was doing a show at Saskatchewan, and it was about those ribstones they found, those 4 ribstones, that archaeological find, and the bison had uncovered them. And so they wanted us to do a show or talk about the bison and these 4, and I just ended up saying I was going to make a quilt I was going to make 4 quilts, and I was going to like lay them on top of these rocks or whatever, and I ended up only making 1 quilt, and I wanted it to be about the prairie tall grass, which the bison were part instrumental with that sort of the keystone species and that relationship. So that's kind of, it took me a while to actually physically finish making the 4 quilts or whatever, and that's the bison quilt, and then the fire quilt, and then the winter quilt, and the grass quilt. And so it actually took me a while, but and then I just found that I had a real penchant for quilting, and I don't know, I joke around about how maybe it's the eyesight thing, and sometimes, we can talk about painting and portraiture and Rembrandt and his fogginess and stuff in the paintings, but eyesight plays a big role in why I just love sewing, is because I don't need my glasses. I can just, and if it doesn't, anyways. So, I just ended up loving sewing. Who would have thought? And I feel like I've approached the quilting as a painter would, with the color and light, and I just didn't have any inhibitions about taking them outside and kind of messing around with them. And at one time I was led to believe that your work has to be perfect for a clean, sterile museum, and that was the kind of environment I grew up in. And with these quilts, I decided that it was okay to, they weren't perfect, and they weren't going to last forever, and that they were okay. This one, I think, when we were out there doing this photo shoot, somebody stepped on it, and at one time, if somebody stepped on my work, I would lose it in a museum. If a gallery prep, I remember once at the Mackenzie, he touched it, and I watched him touch it with the white gloves, and then he touched something else, and I was just really a hard person to work with. I would say, like, I saw that you just touched that dusty thing, and then you touched and it was just like the worst person. So it's been a good transition for me, but I think, I don't know how I can tie this to craft, but I know that craft is a big deal in my art practice today. And I remember this was about 10 years ago. I didn't get a grant at the Canada Council, and I've done this before. I'm the kind of person, that's why they said there's these sign-up things. You can sign up for the people who applied for and to get in. I was worried because what happened was, and I've done this before, I phoned jurors I phoned Jurors. I said, one time I didn't get a grant, and I said, well, who was on the jury? And they said, and I knew that person, and I phoned her, and I said, can you just explain to me why I didn't get it? And she knew it was coming. She kind of cut the conversation short. But I was basically saying, why did you give someone so a grant and not me? And yeah, it was pretty cringe. And but I remember one question I had for the officer at the Canada Council. I said, should I be applying to a different department here? Because it seems to me like craft is not getting, people who work with craft, people who work with skill are being, we're being excluded. I just feel like it's all conceptual, intellectual, rigmarole rubbish stuff, you know, and I was just furious, you know what I mean? Because I was making the quilts and I was making objects and God forbid, I was trying to make beautiful objects, and he was like, just no, Wally, just keep doing what you're doing, and da 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 da, and so. But yeah, so I remember having frustration, and that's why I take it serious being here as a jury member. I don't take it lightly, and I know that some people didn't get awards and some people will get awards, and it's not fun to get rejection, and I have received a lot of rejection in the U.S. too. You know, imagine that, living in the U.S. and not having very many shows. Anyways, you know what? Whatever. Yeah, I gotta have a captive audience. You know what I'm going to tell you about living in the U.S. Let me tell you about what it's like. Okay. So I made this vinyl one with, and I wanted to make it so that it could capture light and split it and make prisms and whatnot. And so it's just been having a lot of fun. You'll start to see a little bit of a trend here. I keep photographing things outside and doing things outside of the museum. And I think may have found a little bit of a sweet spot or whatever. I did this at the Remai last, and this is kind of what I'm doing now. The Remai had a print show with Jill Ross, and they invited me, and I was part of her exhibit downstairs, and it was printmaking. And Jill Ross, so I started collaborating, and this has been a bit of a welcome thing, is collaborating and opening myself up to working with other people. It's a huge step for me, in regards to control. So Jill was printing on paper and paper prints and whatnot. And she said, there's a thing we can do, and we can print it onto a thin paper, and we can make it into kind of a fabric. I don't know what she was talking about, but I said, sure, let's try it. And it ended up being very cool, because I was making the quilts already, and you'll see that it just kind of, it seemed that my desire to be a portrait painter had found a way to join with my quilts, and it all just kind of came together. And that's Rachel. She's a lady who lives here in Saskatoon, Rachel Yakakut. So I'm super grateful for my model, Rachel, for being with me on this journey. And here's that sort of, it's thin paper on Gampi paper that's then treated with konyaku sugar, and it's like a lot of work actually. First it goes to the printer, to Jill, and then it has to be konyaku'd, so it's actually a huge lengthy thing, and then finally it comes to me, and I can cut it and sew it and make it into a quilt or whatever. So so this idea of craft and skill and everything it's big for me, and this idea of beauty and everything. So being on the jury, it was a joyful experience for me. It really was. Thanks.
Thank you, Wally. Next, we will have Brendan Lee Satish Tang, who comes from the unceded territory of Squamish, Sele, Watuth, and Musqueam nations. Brendan is a visual artist who is widely known for his sculptural ceramic work. He received an MFA from Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, and a BFA from the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. And he's a recipient of numerous awards and accolades, both nationally and internationally. Brendan also served as one of 2 judges on the Great Canadian Pottery Throwdown, a competition series featured on CBC in 2024. Tang's work explores issues of identity and the hybridization of material and non-material culture, while simultaneously expressing a love for both futuristic technologies and ancient traditions. Please welcome Brandon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out today on a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Before I kind of talk about my work, I just want to acknowledge the amazing staff that Wally and I got to work with Leah, Alexa, and Maya, or the team. I know it's a bad one. That's all I got. Yeah, they've just been really amazing to work with, and it's really nice to see sort of the next generation sort of taking on the charge. The board members should feel quite comfortable. You are in safe, caring, passionate hands. So yeah, so thank you very much. Just a round of applause for them. All right, so no, I think, oh, did I push? Nope, I got it.
Oh, okay.
No, it's the right one. No, it's all good. So this is the work that I'm most known for, the Mango Ormolu series, which is a hybrid of a decorative art tradition that comes out of the 18th century, out of Europe, where they would import Chinese porcelains, and to make it more relevant to their own culture, they would put all this sort of gold Rococo filigree. I often describe it as though a cherub vomited on a piece of gorgeous porcelain from China. So I was really excited about this kind of idea of cultural appropriation and sort of recontextualizing the work for their society. And so what I did is I conceptually removed that gold filigree and replaced it with things that I'm super excited about, which is giant robots from space and spaceships and science fiction and all those sorts of things that I grew up as a child and now embrace as a full-fledged man-child. So the work that I've been kind of playing with there, the Mango Ormolu, originally it started with the Ormolu kind of being on the exterior of the work, the robot parts, and then I started developing the work, and the vases started taking on very bodily references, very fleshy type of references, and so it almost looked like the technology was emerging from the blue and white vessels as though being birthed or sloughed off. And I was kind of thinking about, previously I was thinking about technology versus historical vases and that sort of thing. And now it became like one thing emerging from another, and how we can kind of think about, you know, things like social media, those kind of develop or birthed out of our desire to connect with one another and to be nosy in everybody else's business. And so that's why social media is so popular, is because we can, you know, do it from the toilet. Okay, I don't know where my brain's going. I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So this is another example of some of the more earlier Mango Ormolu works where we have the robotic parts sort of squeezing or pinching or pulling into the objects where it's on the exterior. And with this body of work, I kind of wanted to play with that idea about how our technology is affecting how we look at our histories, how we connect with our past, and also in a lot of ways, like being trained as a potter, I was always, you know, we talk about the foot, the lip, the shoulders, the waist of a vessel. So we always talk about it in relationship to our own body. And so I wanted to play with that metaphor even more in thinking about these vessels as being a stand-in for my own body or our bodies, and thinking about our technology and how it's changing those sorts of things. And we can all think about how, I don't know, you've probably heard of the term tech neck, which is a condition of your neck being sore or growing bone spurs off the back of your neck from just sort of leaning forward, looking on your phone for a lot. So like those kinds of ideas that I'm kind of playing with. I'm always, with this work, kind of always looking at historical references to Chinese porcelains. This is a piece that I had seen at the Victorian Albert and just had to make a go of it. Making this work. I think one of the things that I really love about the work that I do is that it is kind of a way, and this is one of the most wonderful things about the craft world, is how much of a history it has and how much you can sort of tap into it. And there's this like vast knowledge that seems bottomless. And I really love sort of connecting with the histories of ceramics and trying to figure out how an artist would have created something. I remember I had a good fortune of going to the Ukrainian Museum here, and I was hanging out with the curator, and they had a whole bunch of historical Ukrainian ceramics. And I couldn't help but, just like every potter probably does, I didn't pick it up and look at the bottom, which is what every potter does. But I did do the thing where I run my fingers up the side of the walls of it just to sort of touch the throwing lines. And in a weird sort of way, I was thinking in my head, this is kind of like shaking the hands of the potter that made it. This is like what I'm doing here, who is long since dead. So this is the kind of the work that I've been doing. I've also, my work I've had the good fortune of being able to work outside of ceramics and kind of go wherever I want. And some of the work that I've been doing this came out of a collaboration I did with a contemporary artist named Sunny Asu from the Kwakwakiwak First Nations. And we had done a show called Ready Player 2, which was a love letter to our very nerdy childhood, and also thinking about how that nerdy childhood influenced our current lives. And this work came out of it where I started making these watercolor replicas of things from my childhood. So most Gen Xers will recognize this being one of the greatest Atari games ever created. Actually not, but it is E.T. And so I recreated it out of watercolors. And with this work, I'm kind of playing off of this idea of just paper, which is a Chinese Buddhist tradition where you would burn a paper object, and the idea is that it goes to your ancestors in the afterlife. You've probably seen in Chinatown, you'll come across what they call like hell money, which is like banknotes that you would burn, and it would go to your ancestors in the afterlife, because apparently they live under capitalism as well, unfortunately. Sorry. So I kind of was playing with these ideas that I was going to kind of create these objects, but as Alexa had mentioned, like I loved kind of doing this back and forth about identity and sort of that in-between stage. And so I have this very Eastern philosophy kind of idea around the work, but then I also have this kind of Western, and being from BC, New Agey kind of vibes where, I don't know if you've ever heard this idea of dealing with trauma, where you would write about something that was very traumatic and then you would burn it as some sort of form of catharsis. And so I loved that idea. And, I was like firmly ensconced in my middle age. And I still am super passionate about these things. I already kind of self-proclaimed man-child. And I was kind of thinking about these ideas of how do I let go of these things and move on and sort of enter adulthood and take my place there. And so I started making these objects with these porcelain matches. And they were kind of like an invitation to let go, to burn these objects, to release myself from them. But they're a porcelain match. They're never going to burn. So it's kind of like me talking about getting over something, but not really getting over something. So, which my wife will tell you I do a lot. Okay, so this work actually started turning a little bit. First, I was thinking kind of like going down the nostalgia road and kind of making Game Boys and all these Atari things. And this is where the work kind of turned. And this is a replica of a VHS cassette of a movie called They Call Me Bruce. And this was a movie that came out in the 80s, I think like 86, 87. And my family, we grew up in Nanaimo in the 80s and 90s. And during that time, we were, like, I would be maybe the only Chinese kid or a person of brown kid in the room in my elementary schools and high schools and things like that. And so we very rarely saw Asian identity represented, except for kung fu movies. Well, then came along this movie, which was a Western comedy movie where it was hilarious. There was this Asian, kind of like a Charlie Chaplin kind of character who's a bit of a buffoon. And he would always do these things, but all the Westerners, all the California people would think he knew Kung Fu. And so there was all this hijinks. And as little kids, we thought it was hilarious, and my dad thought it was hilarious. But if fast forward to now, if you were to watch it, you'd just be like, "Whoa, yeah, very cringe." So, and that is something that I kind of found really interesting about the work, where now I'm kind of talking about how do I hold on to those things from my childhood that we bonded over as an immigrant family in a predominantly white town, but then also acknowledge its problems and reconcile its problems, and where do we go with that? And we all have these kinds of things. I also did like a Michael Jackson album where you're just like, we can all agree that Michael Jackson's a genius, but then we can also agree that he's probably a pedophile. And so it's just like, how do you reconcile these things? Anyhow, I know this is Saturday. Okay, moving right along. So this work then spun into a larger body of work that I did. And this is what I did during COVID. People played Animal Crossing. I built a 1-to-1 scale F-150 out of watercolor paper. And it was for a show at the Nanaimo Art Gallery. And, I have this funny relationship with my hometown because Nanaimo's cool. They came up with the Nanaimo bar. And so they asked me to do a show called What is Progress? And I started thinking about this idea, and I thought, I was going to do a show about masculinity and progress in masculinity. But then I was just like, no, wait a minute, you're still just talking about yourself. And so I was talking about my progress and where I've gone. And so what I wanted to do is I created an F-150 from the era of the when we arrived in Nanaimo, which was in 1984. And I created this giant Jaws paper watercolor truck, and then underneath had like these lights that looked like flames and stuff like that. And I kind of had it in the show, and it's hard to see in some of these images, but I had it in the show where, those little tree air fresheners that you hang from your mirror? I made giant ones that were like 8 feet tall, and it was basically like a surrealist bush party that you would just walk into this space. So the craft world, I had apprenticed back in the early 90s with Josie and Vic Diffuse at Jovic Pottery. And that's where I fell in love with ceramics. And I started working in there, started working in clay. And I never thought in where a craft life would take me. I had no idea where it would take me. And it's taken me all over the world and doing ceramic works, and it's just like a really wonderful community. And I get to take advantage of two communities, both the craft world community, which is a loving, embracing kind of space where you could call up anybody who has a kiln if you could sleep on their couch, and they would probably say yes. And then I also get to be part of the art world, which is really quite wonderful. Another part that's been really quite wonderful is that I've been able to get into education. And I currently teach at Emily Carr University in the ceramic department, which is so wonderful because I get to work with young people who are 18 to 25 and maybe older and work in ceramics. And it has been such a wonderful thing to work with young people. And I think us as makers, if you're feeling kind of stuck in your practice, take on an apprentice, take on somebody to mentor or to work with, because their blind optimism is so infectious. Because I get so jaded, but then working with young people, they're just like, I'm going to do this for the first time. And I'm like, yeah, you are. And you're just like, it's just so great. It's so great. So that's been really wonderful. I've also been able to do workshops and mentoring. I did one at Medalta, which is in Medicine Hat. Actually, next week, I'm going to the Art Gallery of Burlington, Ontario. For the ceramic people in the room, they probably already know, they have an incredible ceramic collection, and I convinced them for me to go there and run a workshop where we get to crawl around in their collection and look at all their pots, and all the ceramic artists get to do research into the work that they're doing. So that's been like a really wonderful aspect of the work that I've been doing. And then, of course, there has been this strange and wonderful opportunity where I got to be a judge for a ceramic show on CBC. And that was an incredible event. It was the best and weirdest summer camp that I'd ever been a part of. We filmed the show in 8 weeks, and so it was the first week of, or it started in August, and then we ended at the end of September, and it was such a fever dream, and I was teaching in the middle of it. It was bonkers. Anyhow, it was a wonderful opportunity, and it's, all because of craft. It's like, sometimes we think, okay, well, craft will be, I'm just engaging with the material and selling the material to collectors or whatever, or engaging with the community. But I've found that craft is so excuse me, so much more than just that. It has given me such a rich and wonderful life. And so it is a true honor to be here and to also help with the jurying process for the Sask Crafts Council, and to see how alive and generous this community is. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Wally and Brendan. I would just like to reciprocate that it has been a pleasure to work with the two of you over the last few days. I can't speak for all of the staff, but I've been a little stressed out about this, and you actually made the last few days really fun, so I thank you for that. We do have a few other Dimensions events upcoming and currently in progress, one of them being the Dimensions Open House. So as you may know, there are 222 submissions available to view on our website. And then that also includes 60 pieces that were shortlisted during the first round of jurying. And those are also available to view at the Sask Craft Council Gallery on Broadway until May 20th. We also have the opportunity to vote for your favorite piece of the 60 shortlisted works, and cast your vote for the People's Choice Award, which will be presented to the winning artist at the end of the open house in a week and a bit. We also have juror feedback sessions coming up. This is a new feature of the Dimensions program based on a lot of research and feedback that we received when we went through the evaluation process for Dimensions. So any artist who submitted to Dimensions is welcome to participate. There's limited seats. Registration will be opening on Monday, the 12th, and we've sent out details to each of you via email. I encourage you to take advantage of that if you can. Receiving feedback on your work is one of the best ways to grow as an artist, and we have two really amazing individuals who are providing that to us as part of this program. And last, we do have a reception coming up in July. July 26th, we'll have a reception for the Dimensions exhibition. That's the 35 pieces that we're announcing today that were selected for the final exhibition, and that will be another opportunity to continue to celebrate all the success of these artists. So with that, I am going to announce the 35 selected artists for Dimensions 2025. Drum roll. These will be listed in alphabetical order. So the first selection is Cold Weather Clutch by Marcy Bast. Two Birds, One Stone by Sandy Bonney. Book Dragon by Ashley Brotzel. The Watcher, Paula Cooley. Les Fleurs Sauvages by Brenda Dowdoff. Breathless by Karen Dubnik. Finial Finale by Dave Dunkley. May, Gertie, and Hesse by Linda Duval. Just Below the Surface by Carol Epp. Roe v. Wade by Carol Epp. Fox Chain, Heike. Sundance by Gary Greer. Woodland Series, 4 panels by Lynn Greena. Girl with an Earring by Lynn Greena. Viterra by Kevin Hogarth. Salacia by Savannah Holt. Venus by Ruth Langweiser. Quiet Miracles by Kit Lowen. Overlapping by Dale Lowe. Collecting the Light by Dale Lowe. Summer Daylily and Dandelion by Catherine Miller. No Soup by Robert Miller. My Mother's Garden by Courtney Peterson. Three-Legged Maple Burl Bowl by Richard Pratchler. Prairie Rest by Cheryl Solon. Partridge Mittens by Sheila Schmutz. Sunrise at Redberry Lake by Jenny Lee and Jacob Semko. Quantum by Ian Stark. Anasurma by Maya Stark. Wood-Fired Vase by Jeff Stewart. Do Not Disturb by Ruben Unger. Plum by Vivian Wasuta. Rod and Max Play Scrabble by Christina Weiss. The Unbearable Catness of Candy Jar by Ya Li Wan. And last but not least, Forged Damascus Dagger by Colton Yellowega. And please give a round of applause for all of the selected artists, as well as all the artists who entered Dimensions this year.
Well, now that your hands are really warmed up. Now we will go on to the announcement or the awards for excellence in each category, which there are 14 of. I will announce the awards title, and then I will ask the presenter to come up on stage. And again, I just want to thank all the sponsors, local people who really care about craft and businesses that donated this sponsorship award. We thank you. So the first award we have is Excellence in Functional and Production Wear, and I will have Cecilia J. Cote come up on the stage just this way and do a little catwalk, and then I will hand you this to present to the award winner. Absolutely, here we go. Da, 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 da. Thank you, Cecilia J. Cote. La, da, dee, dee. Again, that's for you, and then you announce the award
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Just have to bring up my screen here. Honored guests and fellow attendees, my name is Cecilia Cote, and as one of the many founding members of the Saskatchewan Craft Council, a commitment was made to promote the ideals of this organization, excellence in craft. And as a maker, a commitment was also made to pursue this creative journey, which is so full of struggle and an education, and also learning self-awareness. So for these specific reasons, and with this appreciation of the going through, I'm honored to sponsor the award for production and functional and production wear. This award recognizes and encourages work that is rooted in the utilitarian history of fine craft and presented to an artisan whose work displays excellence in creativity, design, and craftsmanship. And now we need the drum roll for the... So I would like to ask Wally Bear to please come up. Congratulations. And there you go. And your envelope. Thank you.
Next, we have Award for Excellence in Glass, presented by Eric Klein on behalf of the Saskatoon Glassworkers Guild.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, Wally, Dion, I just wanted to say I entered the competition and I was rejected. But having seen the pieces that were selected, I don't require any explanation at all. They're wonderful. Since being founded in 1987, the Saskatoon Glass Guild has sought to promote glass art and glass artists. It is a very supportive, mentoring, and collaborative group. Mind you, I was thinking, my point of reference is being a member of the Law Society for 45 years and the legislature for 16 years. So they might just be normal. They may not be all that great. But actually, it is a great organization. And it's very welcoming to people from all levels, from beginners to experts. We do the annual Glassworks show, which has been going for more than 30 years at Innovation Place. Many of you have probably been to it, and other group shows and sales displaying leaded and foiled stained glass, fusing, etching, sandblasting, mosaic, casting, blowing, lamp working, beading, and more. We're very pleased to sponsor the award for excellence in glass, and on behalf of our president, Betty Gibbon, I'd like to present the award to Cheryl Salen. Hi, Cheryl. You go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to present the award for excellence in jewelry fabrication today on behalf of the Jewelry Artists Guild of Regina. Here we go. So the winner today of the Jewelry Fabrication Award in Excellence goes to Brenda Dawidoff. Please come up. Congratulations. And Brenda is a very new member, so this is a great way to start. The next award we have is the Award for Excellence in Metal, presented by Craig Campbell on behalf of the Saskatchewan Blacksmiths Association.
Hello, welcome all. Great honor. At 2 a.m. this morning, I was concocting this presentation, planning my words carefully. It was good. It was really good. Quick of quip, wit of word. You folks were great as well in my memories last night. Very boisterous with your applause and laughter. But at 8 a.m. over coffee, the edits began, and I am left with this brief chronology of metalwork on the planet. So, forging metal began with the meteorites, and then on to the Copper Age, Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. And out of the Iron Age, we get the smite, which would be the smith to hit the hot iron. And the iron is black, so it became the blacksmith. A steep decline in post-World War II because the blacksmith trade was outdone by modern ways. And then in the US of A in the early 70s, this ancient trade was revived as a craft form. And the term artist blacksmith was coined at that point. And it spread around the globe, a very joyous and sharing attitude. So much like calling up your potter friends around the globe and sleeping on their couch, I can plant myself at any forge on the planet and be welcomed in. In the late 80s, the Saskatchewan Blacksmith Group was formed. And for 25 years now, the SBA, Saskatchewan Blacksmith Association, has sponsored or co-sponsored this very award. I myself have been honored with this award in the past, and I am so delighted to present it today. So, I am Craig Campbell, and I am deeply honored on behalf of the SBA and in concert with the SCC to present the 2025 Dimensions Award for Excellence in Metal to, here it comes. How do we get into this thing? The envelope? Folder? Help. There it is. Colton Yellowagga. For that beautiful Damascus dagger, the last slide you saw. Cool. That's a great pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
An extra note, I've been following Colton for about a decade online. His aunt is a dear friend of mine, comes up to Big River Ness Creek Bluegrass Festival, and she pointed him out to me, so I started following. This is the first time we've met. I don't know what he looked like. But I encourage him to enter Dimensions. And here he is as a winner, so congratulations, buddy.
Very good. Next, we will do the Award for Excellence in Textiles, presented by Amanda Brown on behalf of the Saskatoon Spinners and Weavers Guild, or the Weavers and Spinners Guild, as we were trying to figure out yesterday. Just like that.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amanda Brown, and I'm with the Saskatoon Spinners and Weavers Guild. At the Guild, we value excellence in all textile arts, not just spinning and weaving. We also have a great many felters and dyers as well. So I was very pleased to see such a range of techniques in the textile pieces in this show. So great selections. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Sask Arts Board and Saskatchewan Lotteries who provide us with operational funding through the Professional Arts Organization program. The P got me. And without their support, we wouldn't be able to do things like this in our community. So with that, we are very honored to sponsor this award. And it goes to Ashley Brotzel. Congratulations.
And it appears she's not here today, so we will pass this on to her, and maybe she's watching from home.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So the next award is the Award for Excellence in Wood, presented by Mel Genge on behalf of the Saskatchewan Woodworkers Guild.
Good afternoon. My name is Mel Genge, and I've been a member of the Saskatchewan Woodworkers Guild for the past 25 years. It is a great pleasure for me today to present the Excellence in Wood 2. Oh, wrong side. Ian Stark. It's a pleasure. Congratulations. Thank you.
We go that way.
Thank you.
Next, we will announce the Ian Preston Memorial Award for Excellence in Printmaking or Photography, presented by Carmen Milenkovic on behalf of the Preston Milenkovic family.
Wow, everyone, this is so great. I'm so glad you've come to this fantastic celebration of craft. It just makes my heart beat fast. If you have a photographer in your family or a group of friends, you no doubt have been asked to step out of the way while the perfect shot is being lined up. It doesn't happen quickly, so hopefully there was a bench nearby so you could sit and people watch or listen to the birds. If you live with a photographer, like I did for over 40 years, you will continually marvel at how light is captured and transformed into a beautiful image. I learned during that time that my photographer, Ian Preston, thought in pictures, while I thought in words. While we lost Ian in October of 2024, we have extensive remnants from his exploration with light. It is in his honor that we came together as a family to celebrate his creativity. This award is shared with printmaking, as the entrants for both media incorporate traditional techniques to capture and display images and combine the processes with modern technology. And so this afternoon, on behalf of the Preston Milenkovic family, I'd like to present the award for photography and printmaking to Kevin Hogarth for photograph Vitera. I don't think Kevin is here this afternoon. He actually has an opening of his own exhibition, and he's greeting guests who are hopefully purchasing lots of art. But I'll make sure he gets this. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Next, we have the Leslie Potter Award for Excellence in Sculpture, presented by our very own Steph Canning, who helped big time on working on dimensions with this SEC and now has since moved on to a wonderful new position.
Thank you so much. My name is Steph Canning, and I'm a past Craft Council employee. Congratulations to all the Craft Council staff today. I know how hard you worked on this, and it's a beautiful day, and congratulations to all the artists. I'm pleased to present the award for the Leslie Potter Award for Excellence in Sculpture, which is generously sponsored by Art Placement. This award was established in 2017 to honor the artistic and community contributions of Leslie Potter. Les retired in 2017 from the Saskatchewan Craft Council, where he served as an exhibition coordinator for 23 years. So he got 10 years longer than me. Congrats, Les. During his tenure, he made many meaningful contributions, especially to the Dimensions program. In his artistic practice, Les is well known for his large-scale welded sculptures that shape and enrich the urban landscape of Saskatchewan and Saskatoon. Personally, I'm reminded of his legacy almost daily, each time as I passed by Harvest Collector on 33rd Street near my home in Caswell Hill. The Leslie Potter Award for Excellence in Sculpture recognizes a work created in any media that meets the criteria for sculptural practice and exemplifies excellence. In this context, excellence means more than technical proficiency. It embodies a deep understanding of form and space, a willingness to push boundaries of material, process, or concept, and the ability to offer something fresh, meaningful, and thought-provoking. The strongest sculptural works are ones that invite viewers to engage from multiple angles, where elements emerge as we move around the piece, fully utilizing its three-dimensional nature. I'm honored today to present the Leslie Potter Award for Excellence in Sculpture on behalf of Art Placement to Paula Cooley. Congratulations, Paula.
Next, we have the Award for Excellence in Clay, presented by Hilary Simon Warbeck on behalf of Handmade House and T&T Pottery Supply.
Hello, my name is Hilary Simon Warbeck. I'm a potter here in Saskatoon, and I'm one of 11 working members at Handmade House. Handmade House is an artist-run cooperative shop selling fine craft from over 100 Saskatchewan-based artists. We've been open for more than 50 years and are located just down the street from our friends at the Craft Council. I'm honored to be here today on behalf of our little shop to present the award in Excellence in Clay, sponsored by Handmade House and T&T Tree Pottery Supply, to Carol Epp. Yay. Thank you.
Next, we have 2 Jurors' Choice Awards to be handed out that are sponsored by Cindy Hoppy. And the presenter is Wally Dion, who will present his pick.
Okay, for my pick for the Jurors' Choice was it utilized just kind of like organic grassy material, and I found there was a poetry in it. You'll see it in a moment. There was also some geometry in the design of it and the weaving. So I would like to present. The work of art is called Summer Daylily and Dandelion by Catherine Miller. Oh, she's coming. Yeah, the star, I found like maybe some sacred geometry, but it's just very light and fragile. I just found it very beautiful that you made that with, as you said, just.
So glad you liked it.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think we both go down this way.
And the second Jurors Award. There we go, Brent.
Thank you. So the Jurors Award for me, being like trained as a craftsperson, I think it's like most of us, like when we see a thing, we immediately try and deconstruct on how we would make it. And this person's work had me stumped at every turn. I was just like, what? I just didn't even know. And it was just like, I'm new to bifocals, and so I was constantly doing this to it. Yeah, so my award goes to Ruben Unger. I'm so curious to what a wizard looks like. Like, this is, I don't even know. It's like that wood. I think he even carved the branch, right? Is the branch made by hand? You're bananas. Congratulations. You're amazing.
All right. Jane Turnbull Evans Award for Innovation in Craft is presented by Michael Afifina on behalf of the Sask Arts.
Hello, everyone. I bring you greetings from Sask Arts. My name is Michael Afenfia, and don't be scared if you notice how many of these I have here. It's really not as long as it looks, and I'm not going to keep you here till 6 p.m. Thank you for having me. I'm pleased to bring greetings on behalf of Sask Arts and to present the Jane Turnbull Evans Award for Innovation. For 77 years, Sask Arts has supported artists in numerous artistic disciplines while encouraging innovation, supporting those efforts, honoring and celebrating their achievements, and preserving their work. We do this through our grants, programs, and services funded by the Government of Saskatchewan, through the Ministry of Parks, Culture, and Sports, and our long-standing partnership with Sask Culture, with funding provided by Sask Lotteries. We are passionate about our mandate to support developments such as innovation within the arts so that artists feel empowered to act on their inspiration. The Innovation Award was created in recognition of Jane Turnbull Evans. She was intimately familiar with Sask Arts' work as she was an incredible fixture in the arts community during her time. She became an educator in Saskatoon after earning her BFA at the University of Saskatchewan and moved on to become an arts administrator at the Mackenzie Art Gallery and Saskatchewan Arts Board as the consultant, visual arts officer, and then the collections keeper. Her multimedia work captured themes of feminism, nature, and culture, and was exhibited in group and solo exhibitions in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and is represented in several collections, including Sask Art's Permanent Collection, Mendel Art Gallery, Dunlop Art Gallery, the University of Saskatchewan, Robert McLaughlin Gallery, and the Government of Saskatchewan. Jane was also a passionate advocate for sustainable arts funding, making strides which culminated in the passing of the Saskatchewan Foundation for the Arts Act in the provincial legislature posthumously. Sask Arts has funded this award since 1998. While Jane's work and life were tragically cut short, her memory lives on through awards like this one, and in the people and artists touched by her work and legacy. And so it is my honor to present this award to the promising recipient tonight. And my very detailed note says, Michael, open the envelope. Oh. Yeah, and I'm honored to present the Jane Turnbull Evans Award for Innovation on behalf of Sask Arts to Keith Lowen. I thought Keith wasn't here. I was going to say I dressed up for nothing. Congratulations.
Thank you, Michael. The next award we have is the Gail Steck Memorial Award for Excellence in Craft by an Emerging Artist, presented by Dorothy McFedrin on behalf of the Gail Steck Memorial Committee.
I'm the last presenter, and I was told as I took this on that I was to be very brief because there were 15 presenters. So I'm very glad to be the last one. I can talk on and on and on without worrying about the next person. But I am very glad to be here to present this award on behalf of Gail Steck. She was certainly one of my friends. She was a creative person, a potter of great enthusiasm and talent. I think over the years you probably have encountered her work in terms of her tree pots, her landscape design, and the contributions she made to a variety of exhibitions. But Gail was always keen on the arts, the crafts, and she was always up for something new and something exciting. I remember when we first started potting, we actually had a department of ceramics at the U of S. So that was a while ago. But from there, she joined the Saskatoon Potters Guild. She was up for any workshop, whether it was pit firing at Mark Foley's farm, whether it was a Robin Hopper workshop, whether it was a week at Machosen, or I understand when she visited Kyoto, she went to every possible potter's shop she could. Gail also was an entrepreneur. And if you'll excuse me, I'll read this bit of information so you get an idea of why the award was put in place. Gail Steck was one of the founding members of Handmade House in Saskatoon. She was a well-known Saskatchewan potter and a lifelong advocate for artists and craftspeople. The prize was established in her memory to encourage early stage and developing craft talents, and to foster and recognize emerging artistic and technical excellence in Saskatchewan crafts. She was a mentor of the Saskatchewan Craft Council, a member of the Saskatchewan Craft Council for 27 years, and a board member for 8. Her ceramic work was noted for its technical excellence and stylish design. She was always happy to serve as a friend and a mentor to other craft people, and served countless times as a jury member in a multitude of media. A friend just stopped by to say that Gail was one of the 2 people who looked at her work and encouraged her to become a member of the Craft Council. She said, maybe don't enter all the exhibits quite yet. You still have a way to go. So Gail, in this, had a commitment to excellence, but her tact, good humor, and genuine design to help others could improve and even make the delivery of bad news a positive learning experience. In March 2010, family, friends, and colleagues joined together to honor her through the establishment of the Gail Steck Memorial Award for Excellence in Craft by an Emerging Artist. And the award goes to Courtney Peterson. Congratulations.
Now I invite Carmen Milenkovic to come to the podium.
I'd like to invite Erin Dean, CEO of Creative Saskatchewan.
Hello, everyone. As Carmen said, I'm the CEO of Creative Saskatchewan. And if you're not familiar with us, we're the economic development agency for Saskatchewan's creative industries. I want to thank Carmen and her team for inviting us to this wonderful event. It's been fantastic. I want to share a little bit about how Creative Saskatchewan works with the Craft Council and some of their members. Sorry. Creative Saskatchewan provides operating and program funding to the Craft Council, allowing them to deliver great service to their members, allowing them to put on events like this, and to create opportunities for development and marketing for their members. We also provide grants to individual artists to support producing products intended to sell, for marketing, and to attend markets. Sorry, I'm going to cough just 1 second. I've been kind of like choking a little bit today. Sorry, guys. I'm trying not to do the pee thing too. We provide funding to support producing products intended to sell, for marketing, and to showcase your products, and to attend markets to showcase and sell your work. So if you're interested in learning more, our grants are opening now, and don't hesitate to reach out, book a program consult with one of our program advisors. They'd be so happy to hear about what you're working on and see if there's a fit in our programming. Sorry. This morning I had an opportunity to visit the Craft Council to see the shortlisted pieces. And let me tell you, those little do not touch stickers were working overtime with me. So much of the work was so inviting, and I was like shoving my hands in my pockets because there was just calling for me. And I know there's a competitive aspect to awards, but I want to share a really quick story about my visit to the gallery this morning. I had the good fortune of meeting a lovely woman named Paula, and everybody is in silhouette. So Paula, if you're here, hello. I think she might be. Paula's work, her husband's work, was shortlisted, and she ran into me when I had my little audience ballot, and I thought she was going to make a pitch about why I should vote for her husband's work. Like, I might have done that, you know. But she didn't do that. Instead, she shared a lot of insights into how friends of theirs' work that was also being exhibited was created and the work that went into it. And I thought that was just so sweet to see that the pride didn't just extend to her husband's work, but to the community, and that to invite me into that as an audience member. So thank you, Paula. And I encourage all of you to go to that wonderful exhibit that's on right now. And with that, I just want to say a huge congratulations to all the finalists, to the award winners today, and a round of applause for Carmen and her incredibly hardworking team at the Craft Council. 50 years is a long time, and here's to many more years of craft in Saskatchewan. Thank you.
Well, we're not quite done. There is one more award. Before I present the final award of the afternoon, I would just like to say a few words about this organization. I joined the SEC in 2014, and I've never regretted it. How lucky am I to be surrounded by art each day, and to be engaged in conversations and explorations about where art takes us. How wonderful to watch our staff expand their horizons as they develop new ideas to help our members and their own art practices grow. Earlier in the afternoon, Cindy Hoppy, our board chair, mentioned the founding members and our current board. You need to know that Cindy is the heart and soul of the organization. When a job needs to be done, she steps forward and makes sure it happens. Please take this opportunity to thank Cindy with a round of applause. We also need to acknowledge our staff. Maya, Alexa, and Leah created Dimensions 25, working tirelessly on it for many months. When they needed extra hands and ideas, they called on other members of the staff who willingly jumped in to help. Alexa, Sydney, Keiko, Leah, Jillian, and Maya are with us today. Ruben worked remotely all week to make sure our materials were ready. McCall is back at the gallery ensuring that our customers can enjoy the open house. And Leslie, unfortunately, is at home sick. I'd like to ask the entire staff to stand up to be recognized. As most of you know, Dimensions has evolved into a new experience this past year, one that we will continue to explore. Instead of a 2-year cycle, we have transformed it to a 4-year cycle, filled with feedback sessions, member group shows, and the Dimensions Showcase. I want to thank past staff member Steph Canning and current exhibition staff Maya, Leah, and Alexa, who worked with our consultant Ann Dunning, who helped us realize this new format. I'm sure the program will continue to evolve and bring our members and the craft community at large that opportunity to showcase your work and become the organization the founding members envisioned. Thank you to our jurors, Brendan and Wally, for their dedication to our process and for sharing with us their art practice. You were generous with your time, and we appreciate your willingness to participate. Before I present the final award of the afternoon, I'd like to ask the selected artists to, after we're finished here, to gather with Keiko in the foyer outside. Keiko, can you wave who you are? The woman with the pink, beautiful long hair. And she will lead you to a spot in the foyer where you will get your pictures taken as a group. And then following the final award presentation, we will have refreshments and cake in celebration of our 50 years. And now it's time for the final award of the afternoon. I'm going to really drag this out. When asked, why this piece? One of the jurors said, "This work stood out for us because it not only embodied all the facets of the prize, but also it took us on an imaginative journey. The maker demonstrated both a strong technical command of a challenging medium and distinctive voice in expressing their concepts and ideas. We were delighted to learn who the maker was. It's always joy when the person you choose turns out to be an absolute gem of a human being." This award is sponsored by Diana Milankovic and Frank Hart, who love collecting art and supporting Saskatchewan artists. They couldn't be here today, but they asked me to congratulate the winner on their behalf and to wish the SCC another 50 years. And so, can I drum roll now? Yeah. The $5,000 50th Anniversary Award for the Outstanding Entry goes to Anna's Mirima by Maya Stark. I think I mispronounced the name of it, didn't I? What is the name of it?
Anna Sirma.
Sirma, okay. I knew I was going to do that. Yeah.
No.
No?
It's taking everything in me right now just to tell you about all the different terrible feelings my body has. Thank you so much. I was astounded to receive this award. I feel very honored. I love the craft community. I feel like some years ago I knew I wanted to wedge myself in here, and I realized I didn't have to wedge anything. They just opened up their arms and took me in. So I'm a terrible speaker. I'll leave it at that. But thank you so much.
And so I would like to take this opportunity to thank our many sponsors: Creative Saskatchewan, the City of Saskatoon, Diana Milankovic and Frank Hart, and then to each of the sponsors of the awards, the guilds and the art galleries who joined in to help us make this the success that it was. Thank you, and now go and eat cake.